At 6:12 in the morning, a hospital security camera caught something nobody could explain. 87 motorcycles rolled in, shut off their engines, and every rider just stood there, staring up at one single window. Inside that room, a 16-year-old girl was praying the man who broke her ribs would not take her home again. The man wore a badge. By law, she still belonged to him. But by sunrise, those bikers would force an entire town to choose between the rules on paper and the kind of justice you feel in your gut. What they did next made headlines across the country, and it almost cost them everything. Stay with this until the end, because you will have to decide which side you are on. The phone rang at 2:53 in the morning. Corbin Rudd answered on the second ring. He had learned years ago that nothing good came after midnight unless it was a brother in trouble or a ghost from the past. This call was both. Corbin. The voice was tired, female, unfamiliar. This is Alina Voss. I work for New Mexico Child Protective Services. I am calling about Mara Hollis. Corbin sat up in the dark. The name hit him like a fist to the chest. Mara. He had not said that name out loud in 6 years. Not since he stood in the rain at her father's funeral and made a promise he never kept. What happened? She is at St. Catherine Hospital in Las Cruces. Admitted 4 hours ago. 3 broken ribs, fractured collarbone, bruising across her back and shoulders. Her stepfather says she fell down the stairs. The doctors do not believe him. Corbin was already pulling on his jeans. His hands were steady, but his voice was not. Was it him? Did he do this? Silence on the other end. Then Alina spoke again, quieter this time. The attending physician flagged it. The injuries are not consistent with a fall. But her stepfather is Officer Dane Calloway. Decorated. 15 years on the force. Union-backed. Unless we find legal grounds for emergency removal, she goes home with him in 24 hours. Corbin stood in the dark, breathing hard. On the wall across from his bed was a photograph. Faded. Dusty. A man in a leather vest with a crooked smile and a baby girl on his shoulders. That man was Soren Hollis, Mara's father, Corbin's best friend. Dead at 32 from a heart attack nobody saw coming. The last thing Soren said to Corbin, 2 days before he died, was not goodbye. It was a request. Corbin, if anything happens to me, promise me you will look after Mara and Celine. Promise me. Corbin had promised. And then Celine remarried a cop named Dane Calloway who seemed decent enough. Polite. Clean cut. Good job. Corbin told himself the girl did not need him anymore. Told himself she had a new father now. Told himself it was better to step back and let the new family be a family. He had been telling himself lies for 6 years. How far? Corbin asked. You are in Roswell. Las Cruces is about 200 miles. 3 hours if you drive straight. I will be there in 2.5. Do not let her leave that hospital. Mr. Rudd, I need to explain something. Officer Calloway has already contacted his union. They have legal representation on standby. If you show up without standing, they will remove you. You are not family. You have no custody claim. You have no legal right to intervene. Corbin grabbed his keys. His voice was ice. Her father was my brother. That makes her blood. And blood does not need paperwork. He hung up, stood there in the dark, stared at that photograph. Then he made the first call. The phone rang 4 times before a gravelly voice answered. Whoever this is, you are about to die. Nevin, it is Corbin. I need the club. Everyone who can ride. We leave in an hour. Pause. Then the sleep cleared out of Nevin's voice. What happened? Soren Hollis's daughter. 16 years old. In the hospital. Cop stepfather put her there. They are sending her back to him tomorrow unless we stop it. Longer pause. Then Nevin said one word. Where? Las Cruces. St. Catherine Hospital. How many you want? Everyone. Corbin, that is a lot of engines for a hospital parking lot. I know. But she needs to see she is not alone. She needs to see that someone showed up. Give me 45 minutes. I will wake the others. Corbin called Helen next. She answered on the first ring. Helen never slept much. 68 years old, tougher than most men half her age, and the only woman in the club who could outride Corbin on a bad day. Talk to me, she said. Riding to Las Cruces. Girl in the hospital. Abusive cop stepfather. Need you. I am in. Who else? Everyone Nevin can wake. Then you will have your army. See you in 30. Corbin called Greta. She was a school bus driver, widowed, kind-faced, and the kind of woman who baked cookies for every rider's birthday. Her voice was soft but firm. If it is for a child, I am already dressed. See you soon. He called Dale. Retired paramedic. 63. Hands that had pulled people out of car wrecks and talked suicidal teenagers off bridges. Dale said, I will bring the medical kit. Just in case. He called Lynn, former railroad worker. Quiet. Steady. The kind of man who fixed things without being asked. Lynn said, on my way. He called 8 more people. Teachers, cooks, mechanics, grandparents. Every single one answered the same way. I am in. By 3:45 in the morning, Corbin was standing in his garage. His Harley Softail waited in the shadows. Black and chrome, built from scraps and stubbornness after his divorce. He kicked it to life. The engine roared. One more promise, old girl. One more. By 4:15, the parking lot of the Roswell Diner was filling with motorcycles. Corbin counted 20, then 30, then 40. Nevin rolled up on his Road King, beard to his chest, arms like tree trunks. He raised a fist. The president is here. Corbin killed his engine. Looked around. Hella was there. Greta. Dale. Lynn. Big arms crossed. Faces hard but eyes soft. They knew what this was about. They had all heard the stories about Soren Hollis. About the promise Corbin made and never kept. Nevin walked over. You good? No. Good. That means you care. Nevin looked at the growing crowd. We got 52 riders so far. More coming from Alamogordo and Deming. They heard it on the group chat. Word travels fast when it is about a kid. Corbin's throat tightened. 52. For a girl most of them had never met. Hella limped over. Her knee had been bad since a crash in '09, but she never complained. I knew Soren, she said quietly. Good man. Good father. He would do this for any of our kids. Corbin nodded. Could not speak. If you believe ordinary people still show up for each other, hit that subscribe button. Around here, that is the family you are riding with, not the headlines. By 5 o'clock, the count was at 73. Corbin stood in front of them all. Most of you never met Soren Hollis. He died 6 years ago. Heart attack. 32 years old. Left behind a daughter named Mara. Before he died, he made me promise to watch over her. I failed. I let some badge-wearing stranger convince me he had it covered. Now she is broken because I did not keep my word. Silence. We are riding 200 miles to Las Cruces. We are not going in hot. We are standing witness. When we get there, that girl needs to see that someone showed up. That she is not alone. That someone gives a damn. A voice from the back. Younger rider named Joss. What if the cops try to move us? Then we stay peaceful, but we do not leave. What if they arrest us? Then the whole world watches them do it. By 5:30, 87 motorcycles were idling in the pre-dawn dark. Corbin stood at the front. Looked back at his family. Steel and leather and hearts bigger than the desert. He raised his fist. For Mara. For promises kept. 87 voices. For Mara. They rolled onto the highway as the sun cracked the horizon. The convoy stretched for half a mile. 2 columns. Staggered formation. Professional. Clean. Corbin led from the front. Hella and Nevin flanked him. The rest followed like a river of chrome and thunder. Hour 1. The desert opened up around them. Empty highway. Red rocks. Sky turning pink and gold. Corbin's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled over at a rest stop. The others followed. 87 engines cut. Silence. The text was from Alina Voss. Officer Calloway is here at the hospital with 2 attorneys. They are pushing for immediate discharge. The doctors are stalling, but he is threatening to file a complaint against the hospital. How far out are you? Corbin typed back. 2 hours. Keep her there. Her reply came fast. I will try. But Mr. Rudd, you need to understand. If you bring a motorcycle club to this hospital, it will not look good. It will look like intimidation. Corbin stared at the screen. Then typed. It is not intimidation. It is family. He showed the text to Nevin and Hella. Nevin spat into the dirt. Union lawyers. Of course. They are going to try to paint us as thugs. Let them, Hella said. We know who we are. Corbin dialed another number. It rang twice. A sharp voice answered. Eamon Pike. Eamon, it is Corbin. I need emergency custody papers filed this morning. 16-year-old girl. Abusive stepfather who is a cop. Eamon Pike was a defense attorney in Albuquerque. Former public defender. Sharp mind. Sharper tongue. He had ridden with Corbin's club years ago before law school. He knew what this call meant. Details. Corbin laid it out in 90 seconds. When he finished, Eamon was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I will file electronically within the hour. But Corbin, if this guy is connected, it is not going to be easy. Cops protect their own. I do not need easy. I need her safe. I am driving down. Meet you there. Thank you, brother. They remounted. Rolled back onto the highway. Hour 2. The sun climbed higher. Heat shimmered off the asphalt. Corbin's mind drifted. He thought about Soren. About the day they met. About the nights they rode together under stars so thick you could not see the black between them. About the last time he saw Mara. She was 10. Quiet. Big eyes. Soren had brought her to a club barbecue. She sat on her father's shoulders and laughed when the older riders told terrible jokes. Corbin had not been there for her 11th birthday, or her 12th, or any birthday after that. He told himself it was better that way, that she had a new life, a new family, that showing up would only confuse her. The truth was simpler. He was scared. Scared of failing Soren again. Scared of looking at that little girl and seeing the brother he lost. His phone buzzed again. This time it was not Alina. It was an unknown number. The message was short. Back off, old man. She is my stepdaughter. She is coming home with me. Or people get hurt. Corbin's hands tightened on the handlebars. He did not reply. Just showed the text to Nevin at the next stop. Nevin read it. His face went dark. He is threatening you. Let him. What if he tries something? Then he learns 87 is a bigger number than 1. Hour 3. They passed through Alamogordo. A dozen more riders joined from the local chapter. The count climbed to 99. But 2 bikes broke down. Mechanical trouble. The riders stayed behind to fix them and catch up later. Final count when they rolled into Las Cruces was 87. Perfect number, Hella said. Lucky. Corbin did not believe in luck. But he believed in people. And 87 people had just given up their Friday morning to stand for a girl they did not know. They hit the city limits at 7:40. Alina called. Mr. Rudd, where are you? 10 minutes out. Thank God. He just tried to take her. Walked into her room with a wheelchair and told the nurse he was discharging her against medical advice. The nurse called security. Security called me. I got here in time, but it is ugly. He is furious. He knows someone tipped us off. We are almost there. Do not let him touch her. I will not. But Corbin, when you get here, do not go in alone. He is angry and he is armed. So am I, Corbin said. Then he hung up. They rolled into the St. Catherine Hospital parking lot at 7:52. The sun was high now. Bright. Hot. The lot was half empty. Early morning quiet. And then 87 motorcycles came down the access road like a storm. Corbin led them in. Guided them into 2 straight lines. Perfect formation. Engines cut. Silence. They dismounted. Stood beside their bikes. Boots on asphalt. Leather vests. Patches that read names like Nevin, Hella, Greta, Dale, Lynn, and 70 more. Inside the hospital, nurses stopped mid-step. Visitors turned. A security guard reached for his radio. Another guard, older, just stared. Corbin walked toward the entrance. Hella and Nevin behind him. Eamon Pike pulled up in a dusty sedan, tie already loosened, briefcase in hand. He saw the bikes and whistled low. You do not do anything small, do you? Not today. They walked through the automatic doors. The lobby went silent. A nurse dropped her clipboard. A man in scrubs froze with a coffee cup halfway to his mouth. The security supervisor, name tag reading Ortiz, stepped forward. His hand hovered near his radio, but he did not press it. Sir, I am going to need you to explain what is happening here. Corbin kept his voice calm. I am here to see Mara Hollis. Room 314. Are you family? Her father was my brother. That is not a legal relationship. Eamon stepped forward. Eamon Pike, attorney. Emergency guardianship petition filed this morning with Judge Carrion. Hearing scheduled for 9:30. My client has standing. Ortiz looked at the 3 of them. Then he looked past them. Through the glass doors. 87 riders. Silent. Waiting. He looked back at Corbin. You are not here to cause trouble. No, sir. We are here to make sure that girl does not go home with the man who put her here. Ortiz's face did not change, but something in his eyes did. He stepped aside. 3rd floor. Room 314. If there is any disturbance, I will have you removed. Understood. They walked to the elevator. Doors closed. Eamon looked at Corbin. You know this could go very wrong very fast. I know. And you are doing it anyway. I am doing it because I did not do it 6 years ago. I am not failing her again. The elevator climbed. Corbin's heart hammered. The doors opened. 3rd floor. Sterile white hallways. Beeping machines. A nurse looked up, eyes wide. Room 314 was at the end of the hall. The door was closed. Corbin knocked. Soft. Alina Voss opened it. She looked exhausted, relieved, scared. She stepped aside. The room was dim. Medical equipment hummed. In the bed, small and broken, was Mara Hollis. She looked exactly like Soren. Same eyes, same sharp chin, same stubborn set to her jaw even when she was scared. Her eyes opened, confused. Then recognition flickered. Uncle Corbin. He crossed to her, knelt, took her hand. Hey kiddo, I am here. I am sorry I took so long. Tears streamed down her face. He said no one would come. He said I was lying. He said no one would believe me. I believe you. And I brought some people who believe you too. What people? Alina helped her sit up. Mara turned toward the window. From the third floor, she could see the parking lot. 87 motorcycles. 87 riders. Standing in silence. Staring up. Her breath caught. Who are they? Your dad's family. My family. They rode 200 miles to stand with you. She sobbed. Corbin held her hand. It was small and cold and shaking. And then the door slammed open. A man in uniform stood in the doorway. Tall, clean-shaven, cold eyes. Officer Dane Calloway. Two men in suits flanked him. Lawyers. Union representation. The kind that showed up when a cop needed protection from the truth. Calloway's eyes landed on Corbin. Then on Mara. Then back to Corbin. Who the hell are you? Corbin stood slowly. Placed himself between Calloway and the bed. I am the man who made a promise to her father. Calloway's face twisted. Soren's biker buddy. I heard about you. You need to leave. Now. No. One of the lawyers stepped forward. Expensive suit. Slicked hair. Sir, you have no legal standing here. Leave immediately, or we will have you removed for trespassing. Eamon moved beside Corbin. Briefcase in hand. Eamon Pike. Counsel for Mr. Rudd. Emergency guardianship petition filed this morning. Hearing in 90 minutes. My client has every right to be here. The lawyer's face went tight. That petition will be dismissed. Officer Calloway is the legal guardian. This is a family matter. Corbin's voice stayed calm, but every word was steel. Family does not break ribs. Family does not fracture collarbones. Family does not make a 16-year-old girl beg strangers to save her. Calloway took a step forward. His hand moved toward his belt, toward his service weapon. You do not know what you are talking about. She fell. It was an accident. Ask the doctors. The doctors flagged it, Alina said from the corner. Her voice was shaking, but she did not back down. The injuries are not consistent with a fall. The bruising pattern suggests repeated blunt force trauma. I have already filed my report. Calloway's jaw clenched. His hand stayed near his holster. You are making a mistake. All of you. I am a decorated officer. 15 years. Commendations. Community awards. You think anyone is going to believe some washed-up biker over me? Corbin smiled. No warmth in it. Check the window first. Calloway turned. Looked out. His face went white. 87 motorcycles. 87 riders. Some sitting. Some standing. All of them staring up at that third-floor window. Phones out. Recording. What the hell is this? That is 87 witnesses. 87 people who rode through the night because they heard a girl needed help. You pull that weapon in front of her with all those cameras watching. Your career is over before you clear leather. Calloway's hand froze. His face turned purple. The second lawyer grabbed his arm. Daniel, we are leaving. We will handle this in court. Calloway jerked his arm free. Pointed at Corbin. This is not over. You are right. It is just beginning. Calloway turned to Mara. His voice dropped. Sweet. Familiar. The voice he probably used when no one else was listening. Mara, sweetheart, tell them. Tell them it was an accident. You fell down the stairs. Remember? Mara shrank back into the pillows. Her eyes were wide. Terrified. She did not speak. Calloway's face darkened. Mara, answer me. Corbin stepped directly in front of him. She does not owe you anything. Not an answer. Not an explanation. Not another second of fear. You are done. The lawyers pulled Calloway toward the door. He resisted for a moment, then let them drag him out. But before he disappeared into the hallway, he looked back at Corbin. One last time. His voice was low. Poisonous. You have no idea what you just started. The door slammed shut. The room was silent except for the beeping machines and Mara's quiet crying. Corbin knelt beside her bed again. You are safe now. Am I? Her voice was so small. He is a cop. He has friends. Money. Lawyers. What if the judge believes him? Then we appeal. We fight. We do not stop until you are safe. But what if it is not enough? Corbin squeezed her hand. Kiddo, I failed you once. I let 6 years go by without checking on you, without asking if you were okay. I will not fail you again. Not ever. Why did you stay away? Corbin looked down. Because I was a coward. Because your dad died, and I did not know how to face you without him. Because I convinced myself you did not need me anymore. I was wrong. And I am sorry. Mara's tears fell harder. But she did not let go of his hand. My mom. She paused. Her voice dropped to a whisper. He killed her. The room went cold. Alina gasped. Eamon's pen stopped mid-note. Corbin leaned closer. What did you say? My mom. 2 years ago. They said it was a car accident. Single vehicle collision. She was drunk. But she was not. She did not drink. They were fighting that night. About money. About leaving. I heard them. I heard him push her. I heard her fall down the stairs. And then he put her in the car, and he drove it into that tree on Canyon Road. He made it look like an accident. Corbin's blood ran cold. Mara, are you sure? I saw it. I saw him carry her out. I saw him put her in the driver's seat. I tried to tell someone, but no one believed me. He is a cop. Everyone believed him. They said I was confused. Traumatized. They said grief makes you remember things wrong. But I know what I saw. Eamon was already writing. This changes everything. If we can prove it, if we can find any evidence, he does not just lose custody. He goes to prison. How do we prove it? Alina asked. The crash report is closed. Accidental death. Blood alcohol 0.12. There was no investigation. Then we reopen it, Corbin said. We find the car. We find witnesses. We make them look again. His phone buzzed. Text from Nevin. Corbin, we got company. Calloway just walked out the front doors with 10 cops in uniform. They are forming a line between us and the building. Looks like they are trying to intimidate us. Corbin stood. Stay with her. I will handle this. Hella put a hand on his shoulder. Do not go out there alone. I will not. Eamon, you are with me. They walked back to the elevator. Rode down in silence. When the doors opened, the lobby was tense. Nurses whispered. Security stood near the doors. And through the glass, Corbin could see them. A line of officers. Uniforms. Badges. Arms crossed. Calloway stood in the center. Smirking. Corbin walked outside. The morning sun was bright. Hot. The air smelled like asphalt and exhaust. 87 riders stood behind him. Silent. Watching. Waiting. Calloway stepped forward. You need to leave. All of you. You are trespassing. Disturbing the peace. I can have every single one of you arrested right now. Corbin stopped 10 feet away. We are parked legally. Engines off. No noise. No threats. Just people standing in a public lot. You brought a gang to intimidate a police officer. We brought a family to protect a child. One of the other officers, younger, looked uncomfortable. Dane, maybe we should just let them. Calloway spun on him. Shut up, Morris. These are criminals. Bikers. They do not get to roll into our town and play hero. Corbin's voice stayed level. We are teachers, mechanics, nurses, grandparents. We pay taxes. We vote. We show up when someone needs help. What do you do? Calloway's hand drifted toward his weapon again. Careful, old man. Nevin stepped forward. So did Hella. Then Greta. Then Dale. One by one, the riders moved closer. Not aggressive. Just present. A wall of leather and resolve. If you are sick of watching badges being used as shields for bullies, tap that like button. It sounds simple, but every click tells the world more people care about this side of the story than the lies. Security Supervisor Ortiz walked out of the hospital. He looked at the line of cops, then at the riders, then at Calloway. Officer Calloway, I need you to step back. You are on hospital property, and you are escalating a situation that does not need escalation. Calloway turned on him. Whose side are you on, Ortiz? I am on the side of not having a riot in my parking lot. These people are peaceful. You are the one making threats. Calloway's face went red. You just made a big mistake. Ortiz did not flinch. Leave, or I will call the sheriff and have you removed. Calloway stared at him, then at Corbin, then at the 87 riders. He turned and walked toward his cruiser. The other officers followed. Slowly, reluctantly. Some of them looked ashamed. When the last cruiser pulled out of the lot, the tension broke. Riders exhaled. A few laughed. Nervous. Relieved. Hella clapped Corbin on the back. That could have gone worse. It is not over, Corbin said. He will come back. And next time he will bring more. Then we bring more too, Nevin said. I already got texts from Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Tucson. They heard about this. They want in. How many? Couple hundred. Maybe more. Corbin looked up at the third-floor window. Mara was there. Small silhouette. Watching. He raised his hand. She raised hers back. "We hold the line," Corbin said. "Until that hearing. Until the judge decides. We do not leave her." The riders nodded. They settled in. Some sat on their bikes. Others pulled out thermoses of coffee. A few stretched their legs. It was going to be a long day. By 9 o'clock, the hospital staff had stopped staring. A nurse brought out a tray of coffee. An older doctor, gray-haired and kind-eyed, walked over to Corbin. "I have been working here 32 years. Never seen anything like this." "Good thing or bad thing?" Corbin asked. The doctor smiled. "Good thing. That girl needed someone to show up. You did." Inside, Mara was resting. Alina sat beside her bed. Hella had taken over the chair in the corner, knitting something that might have been a scarf. Eamon was on his phone, pacing, talking to someone at the courthouse. Judge Carrion confirmed the hearing for 9:30, Eamon said when he hung up. But Calloway's lawyers filed a counter-motion. "They are arguing that you are a dangerous influence. Gang affiliation. History of violence." "Do I have a history of violence?" Corbin asked. "No. But you have a record. Bar fight in 2008. Disorderly conduct. Charges dropped. They are going to use it. Let them. I would rather be a man who threw a punch defending a friend than a man who throws a child down the stairs." Eamon nodded. "We also need character witnesses. People who can testify to your relationship with Soren. With Mara. People who can say you are fit to be her guardian." Corbin thought for a moment, then pulled out his phone, scrolled through old contacts, found a name he had not called in years. Oren Keltz. Soren's father. Mara's grandfather. His finger hovered over the call button. What if they blamed him? What if they thought he should have done more? Should have been there. "Make the call," Hella said quietly from the corner. "They need to know." He pressed dial. It rang 4 times. Then a gruff voice answered. "Hello. Oren. It is Corbin Rudd." Long pause. "Corbin. My God. It has been years. I know. I am sorry. I should have called sooner. But I am calling now because I am at St. Catherine Hospital in Las Cruces. With Mara." "Mara." Another pause. "Is she okay?" "No. Dane Calloway put her in the hospital. Broken ribs. Fractured collarbone. And she told me he killed Celine." Silence. Long enough that Corbin thought the line had gone dead. Then Oren's voice came back. Shaking. "What?" "Mara says it was not an accident. That Calloway pushed Celine down the stairs. Staged the crash. Made it look like she was drunk." Oren was crying now. Soft. Broken. I knew something was wrong. After Celine died, Mara stopped calling. Stopped visiting. Every time we tried to see her, Calloway had an excuse. She is busy. She is with friends. She does not want to see you right now. We should have pushed harder. We should have known. Oren, I need you. There is a custody hearing in 30 minutes. I filed for emergency guardianship. But I need you to tell the judge that Soren trusted me. That I am not who Calloway's lawyers are going to say I am. Where are you? St. Catherine Hospital. Hearing is at the courthouse downtown. We will be there. Lita and I. We are leaving now. Thank you. Corbin. Thank you for not giving up on her. He hung up. Looked at Mara. She was awake now. Listening. Your grandparents are coming. Her eyes went wide. Grandpa Oren and Grandma Lita. Yeah, they have been trying to see you. Calloway blocked them. Fresh tears. But different now. Relief mixed with grief. I thought they forgot about me. Never. At 9:15, Eamon gathered everyone in the hallway. Corbin. Hella. Alina. Mara, who was dressed now in borrowed clothes that Alina had brought from a donation bin. Simple jeans. A soft gray sweater. She looked younger than 16. Fragile. But there was steel in her eyes. Here is how this is going to go, Eamon said. Judge Carrion is fair, but she does not tolerate drama. We present the medical evidence. Alina's CPS report. Mara's testimony if she is willing. Character witnesses. We argue that returning Mara to Calloway's custody puts her in immediate danger. What will Calloway's lawyers argue? Alina asked. That this is a misunderstanding. That Mara fell. That Corbin is a biker with a record trying to manipulate the system. They will play the sympathy card. Decorated officer. Widower. Loving stepfather falsely accused. Will the judge believe him? Mara whispered. Eamon looked at her. Not if you tell the truth. What if I freeze? What if I cannot say it? Then I will ask you questions. You just answer them. One at a time. Take your time. It is okay to cry. It is okay to be scared. Just tell the truth. At 9:25, Oren and Lita Keltz arrived. They burst into the waiting room. Older. gray-haired, eyes red from crying and driving through the night. When they saw Mara, Lita let out a sound that was half sob, half prayer. "Oh, baby. Oh, my baby." Mara ran to them. They held her, all three of them crying. Oren looked over Mara's head at Corbin, mouthed the words "thank you." Corbin nodded, could not speak. At 9:30, they walked to the courthouse. It was 2 blocks from the hospital. The riders stayed behind. Corbin had asked them to. This part was legal. Quiet. No leather. No engines. Just truth and paperwork. But when they stepped outside, Corbin saw something that made him stop. The line of motorcycles had grown. What was 87 was now over 100. Riders from other chapters. Other towns. Word had spread. And they had come. Nevin walked over. Tucson sent 15. Santa Fe sent 12. Albuquerque sent 20. They heard what you were doing. They want to help. Corbin's throat tightened. Tell them thank you. Tell them yourself when you win. They walked the 2 blocks in silence. Oren held Mara's hand. Lita walked beside them. Eamon led. Alina followed. Hella stayed close to Corbin. The courthouse was old. Stone steps. Heavy doors. Inside, it smelled like paper and floor polish. The hearing was in a small room on the 2nd floor. Judge Sandra Carrion presiding. When they walked in, Calloway was already there, sitting at a table with his 2 lawyers. He looked calm, confident, like a man who had never lost. Judge Carrion was a woman in her late 50s. Sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. She looked at Corbin, at Mara, at the lawyers, then at the files in front of her. Let us begin. Judge Carrion opened the file in front of her, read silently for a moment, then looked up. This is an emergency petition for guardianship filed by Corbin Rudd on behalf of Mara Hollis, age 16, currently in the custody of her stepfather, Officer Dane Calloway. Mr. Pike, you represent the petitioner. Yes, Your Honor. And you are. She looked at the 2 lawyers across the table. The older one stood. Gerald Finch, Your Honor, representing Officer Calloway. This petition is baseless and emotionally driven. Officer Calloway is a decorated member of law enforcement with 15 years of service. He has raised Miss Hollis since she was 10 years old. This is a family matter that has been grossly misrepresented by outside parties with no legal standing. Judge Carrion turned to Eamon. Mr. Pike, your client's relationship to the minor. Corbin Rudd was the closest friend of Mara's biological father, Soren Hollis, who passed away 6 years ago. Before his death, Mr. Hollis asked Mr. Rudd to watch over his daughter. Mr. Rudd is here because Miss Hollis is in immediate danger. Mr. Finch laughed. A short, dismissive sound. Your Honor, Miss Hollis suffered an accidental fall. The medical staff has been influenced by an overzealous CPS worker and a biker with a criminal record who showed up with nearly 100 gang members to intimidate hospital staff and law enforcement. Judge Carrion's eyes narrowed. Gang members. Eamon stood. Your Honor, the individuals outside that hospital are teachers, nurses, mechanics, and retirees. They are members of a registered motorcycle club, not a gang. They came because they heard a child needed help. They have broken no laws. They have made no threats. They simply stood witness. Judge Carrion looked at Alina. Miss Voss, you filed the CPS report. Yes, Your Honor. I was called to the hospital at 2:30 this morning. The attending physician, Dr. Raymond Vasquez, flagged Miss Hollis's injuries as inconsistent with a fall. 3 broken ribs, fractured collarbone, extensive bruising across her back and shoulders in a pattern consistent with repeated blunt force trauma. When I interviewed Miss Hollis, she disclosed a history of physical abuse by her stepfather. Mr. Finch stood again. Your Honor, children often misinterpret discipline. Officer Calloway is a single parent raising a teenage girl. It is not easy. Miss Hollis has a history of behavioral issues. Truancy. Defiance. Her mother's death was traumatic, and she has not processed it well. Mara flinched at the words. Corbin reached over and squeezed her hand. Judge Carrion looked at Mara. Miss Hollis, I would like to hear from you. Can you tell me what happened? Mara's voice was so quiet the court reporter had to lean forward. I did not fall. Can you speak up, please? She took a breath. Louder now. I did not fall down the stairs. He pushed me. He has pushed me before. He hits me when he is angry. He tells me it is my fault. That I make him do it. That if I just listened, he would not have to. Mr. Finch interrupted. Your Honor, this is clearly a coach statement. Judge Carrion held up a hand. Mr. Finch, sit down. Miss Hollis, continue. Mara's hands were shaking, but her voice was stronger now. 2 years ago, my mom tried to leave him. They fought. About money. About her wanting to take me and go. I heard them that night. I heard him push her. I heard her fall. And then he carried her out to the car. He put her in the driver's seat. He drove that car into a tree on Canyon Road. And then he called the police and said she had been drinking. But she had not. She never drank. He killed her. And everyone believed him because he is a cop. The courtroom went silent. Judge Carrion leaned back in her chair, stared at Mara, then at Calloway. Officer Calloway, do you wish to respond? Calloway stood. His voice was calm, measured. Your Honor, my stepdaughter is grieving. She has been grieving for 2 years. Her mother's death was tragic. An accident. The police report, the toxicology report, everything supports that. Mara has created a narrative in her mind because she cannot accept that her mother made a terrible mistake that night. I have tried to help her. I have tried to be patient. But she is angry. And now she is using this accident, this fall, to hurt me. Judge Carrion looked at Eamon. Do you have evidence to support the allegation regarding the mother's death? Not yet, Your Honor. But we are pursuing it. The car from that crash still exists. We believe a re-examination will show signs of staging. Mr. Finch scoffed. Your Honor, this is a fishing expedition. The case was closed. Accidental death. There is no basis to reopen it. Judge Carrion tapped her pen on the desk. Mr. Pike, I cannot rule on allegations of murder without evidence. But I can rule on the immediate safety of this child. Dr. Vasquez's report is compelling. Miss Voss's testimony is credible. And Miss Hollis's testimony is consistent and detailed. Officer Calloway, I am granting a temporary restraining order. You are not to contact Miss Hollis in any way. You are not to go near her school, her grandparents' home, or any location she is known to frequent. Your Honor, this is outrageous. I am also granting temporary guardianship to Mr. Corbin Rudd, pending a full hearing in 30 days. Miss Hollis will reside with Mr. Rudd and her grandparents, Orrin and Lita Keltz, during this time. CPS will conduct home visits. Mr. Rudd, if I find out you are unfit, this order will be reversed immediately. Do you understand? Corbin stood. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. And Mr. Calloway, I am ordering the District Attorney's Office to review the circumstances of Celine Hollis's death. If there is any evidence of foul play, you will be investigated fully. Calloway's face went white, then red. He stood so fast his chair tipped over. This is a witch hunt. You are destroying my life over the lies of a confused teenager and a biker thug. Judge Carrion's voice went cold as steel. Officer Calloway, sit down, or I will hold you in contempt. Calloway sat. His lawyers grabbed his arms, whispered urgently in his ears. This hearing is adjourned. Judge Carrion banged the gavel. Mara collapsed into Corbin's arms, sobbing, not from fear this time, from relief. Lita wrapped her arms around both of them. Orrin stood beside them, tears streaming down his weathered face. Eamon closed his briefcase, allowed himself a small smile. Outside the courthouse, the riders were waiting. Someone had tipped them off. When Corbin walked out with Mara, Orrin, and Lita, the crowd parted. Silent, respectful. Nevin stepped forward. Well, she is coming home with us. A cheer went up. Not loud, not wild. Just relief. Just joy. Hella hugged Mara gently, careful of her ribs. Welcome to the family, kiddo. Mara looked around at the faces. At the leather. At the patches. At the people who had ridden through the night for her. She whispered, thank you. All of you. Greta stepped forward, pulled a small box from her saddlebag. I baked these this morning before we left. Chocolate chip cookies. Thought you might need something sweet after all this. Mara took the box, opened it. The smell of warm cookies filled the air. She took one, bit into it, smiled for the first time since they had met her. These are really good. Greta beamed. There is more where that came from. If you believe what these bikers did was right, tell the world in the comments. Say I stand with the riders. And if you never want anyone to forget that not all so-called gangs are the bad guys, hit that subscribe button. The bully in this story would hate to see this video grow. They walked back to the hospital. Mara needed to be officially discharged. Paperwork, prescriptions, instructions for care. Dr. Vasquez met them in the lobby, shook Corbin's hand. You did a good thing. I have been a doctor for 30 years. I have seen too many kids go back to bad homes because no one showed up. You showed up. We all did, Corbin said, gesturing to the riders outside. Dr. Vasquez looked out the window, nodded. Yes, you all did. By noon, Mara was discharged. Corbin had called ahead to a friend in Roswell who ran a small apartment complex. Got her a temporary place to stay until he could figure out something more permanent. Orrin and Lita would stay there too. Close. Supportive. Family. The ride back was quieter. Mara rode in Lita's car. Two sort of sit on a bike. But she watched through the window as the motorcycles surrounded them. A protective circle. A moving wall of loyalty and chrome. When they pulled into Roswell, the sun was setting. Orange and pink and gold. The apartment was small but clean. 2 bedrooms. A cozy living room. A kitchen that smelled like someone had just baked bread. Hella had gone ahead and stocked the fridge. Nevin had brought blankets and pillows. Greta had left more cookies on the counter. Dale had put together a first aid kit with extra bandages and pain medication. Mara stood in the middle of the living room. Looked around. Then looked at Corbin. Is this real? Do I really get to stay here? Yeah, kiddo. You really do. What if he comes back? What if he tries to take me? Then we stop him. Again. And again. As many times as it takes. She nodded. Slowly. Then sat down on the couch. Exhausted. Orrin sat beside her. Put his arm around her shoulders. Lita brought her a glass of water and a blanket. Within minutes, Mara was asleep. Head on her grandfather's shoulder. Safe. 3 days later, Corbin got a call from Eamon. The DA agreed to reopen the investigation into Celine's death. They are pulling the crash report. Requesting the car from the impound lot. Interviewing witnesses. That is good. Right. It is a start. But Corbin, you need to prepare yourself. Even if they find something, it has been 2 years. Evidence degrades. Witnesses forget. Calloway has had time to cover his tracks. Then we make sure they look harder. Eamon paused. There is something else. Calloway filed a countersuit. Defamation. Emotional distress. He is claiming you destroyed his reputation and career. Let him. I am not backing down. I know. But this is going to get uglier before it gets better. It already is ugly. We are just making people look at it. That night, Corbin sat with Mara on the apartment balcony. Stars filled the sky. The desert air was cool and clean. She was healing. Slowly. The bruises were fading from purple to yellow. The ribs still hurt, but less every day. Uncle Corbin, can I ask you something? Yeah. Why did my dad pick you? To watch over me. Corbin smiled. Because your dad knew I would never quit. Even when I wanted to. Even when I screwed up. He knew I would keep trying. Did you screw up? Yeah, I did. I stayed away for 6 years. I told myself you did not need me. That was the screw up. But you came back. Because I made a promise. And promises matter. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, he used to tell me about you. About the rides. About the time you pulled him out of a bar fight, even though you were outnumbered. About the night you sat with him in the hospital when his dad died. He said you were the kind of person who showed up. I was not always. But I am trying to be now. Mara leaned against his shoulder. I am glad you came. Me too, kiddo. The investigation moved slowly. The DA's office pulled the crash report. Interviewed the responding officers. One of them, a younger cop named Morris, the same one who had looked uncomfortable outside the hospital, came forward. He said Calloway had been acting strange that night. Nervous. Insistent that the scene be cleared quickly. Morris had thought it was odd, but did not push it. He regretted that now. The car was located in a county impound yard. Rusted. Damaged. But still intact. A forensic team examined it. Found inconsistencies. The steering column had been manually damaged. The airbag had been disabled before the crash. The damage to the front end was not consistent with hitting a tree at high speed. It looked staged. Eamon called Corbin with the news. They found something. It is not a smoking gun, but it is enough to build a case. The DA is considering charges. Manslaughter. Evidence tampering. Maybe more. Corbin closed his eyes. Felt something loosen in his chest. Something he had been holding tight for years. Thank God. But Corbin, this is going to take time. Months. Maybe a year. Calloway has resources. A union. Lawyers. He will fight every step. Then we fight every step too. 2 weeks later, Calloway was arrested. Early morning. At his home. The news spread fast. Local stations picked it up. Then regional. Then national. Decorated cop, charged in wife's death. Biker club stands with stepdaughter. The headlines wrote themselves. Mara watched the news coverage with Orrin and Lita. She did not say much. Just held her grandmother's hand. When the segment ended, she looked at Corbin. Do you think they will believe me now? I think they do not have a choice. That night, The riders gathered at a bar on the edge of town. Not a celebration, just a moment to breathe, to sit together, to remember why they had done this. Corbin stood at the bar with Nevin, Hella, and Eamon. They raised their glasses. To Soren, Nevin said, and to keeping promises. They drank. Quiet, grateful, tired. Hella looked at Corbin. You know this is not over. Calloway is out on bail. He is angry, desperate. Men like that do stupid things. I know, but we will be ready. And if he comes for her. Corbin's voice went hard. Then he learns what happens when you come for family. For weeks after the arrest, life began to find a rhythm. Mara enrolled in a new school in Roswell. Smaller, quieter. Teachers who knew her story and gave her space to heal. She made a friend. A girl named Iris who sat with her at lunch and did not ask questions she was not ready to answer. She started seeing a therapist twice a week. A woman named Dr. Collier who specialized in trauma. Slowly, carefully, Mara was learning how to breathe again. Oren and Lita stayed close. They moved into a small house 3 blocks from Corbin's apartment. Close enough to help. Far enough to give Mara room to grow. Lita cooked meals that filled the apartment with warmth. Oren taught Mara how to fix things. A leaky faucet. A squeaky door hinge. Small repairs that made her feel capable. Strong. Corbin learned how to be a guardian. It was harder than he expected. There were school forms. Doctor appointments. Conversations about curfews and homework and feelings he did not know how to name. But Hella helped. So did Greta. So did half the club. Mara was not just his responsibility. She was theirs. And they took that seriously. But underneath the routines, there was tension. Calloway was out on bail. The trial was set for 6 months out. His lawyers were fighting hard. Motions to suppress evidence. Motions to dismiss. Character witnesses lining up to say he was a good man. A dedicated officer. A victim of a smear campaign. And then the messages started. The first one came to Mara's phone. Late at night. Unknown number. You are going to regret this. All of you. She showed it to Corbin the next morning. Her hands shook as she handed him the phone. He came and read it. His jaw tightened. Then he called Eamon. Eamon called the DA. The DA contacted Calloway's bail supervisor. Calloway denied sending it. Said his phone was with him all night. That anyone could spoof a number. There was no proof. The second message came 3 days later. To Corbin this time. You took everything from me. Now I take everything from you. Corbin did not scare easy. But he knew what desperation looked like. And desperate men were dangerous. He called a meeting with the club. 20 riders showed up at the bar. Nevin, Hella, Dale, Lynn, Greta, Joss, others. They sat in a circle. Corbin laid it out. Calloway is escalating. He is sending threats. I do not think he is going to wait for a trial. I think he is going to try something. What do you need? Nevin asked. Eyes on Mara. 24/7. Rotating shifts. Someone outside her school. Someone outside the apartment. Someone awake at night. You think he would come for her directly? I think he has nothing left to lose. Hella leaned forward. Then we make sure he loses again. They set up a schedule. Day shifts. Night shifts. Riders parking across from the school. Riders sitting in trucks outside the apartment complex. Quiet. Watching. Protecting. Mara noticed. At first she was embarrassed. Then she was grateful. Then she stopped noticing it all because it just became part of the routine. Safety woven into the fabric of her days. 2 weeks later, Corbin got a call from Morris, the young cop who had testified about the crash scene. Morris's voice was low. Urgent. Corbin, I am calling off the record. Calloway has been asking around. About where Mara lives. About her schedule. About you. He is planning something. I do not know what. But you need to be careful. How do you know this? Because I heard him talking to another officer. Someone who still supports him. They think he is being railroaded. They think you are the problem. Corbin, some of these guys are dirty. And they are loyal to him. Not to the truth. Can you go on record with this? No. Not yet. I am already on thin ice for testifying. If I push harder, I lose my job. Maybe worse. But I wanted you to know. Watch your back. Corbin hung up. Told Nevin and Hella. They doubled the watch. Added more riders. Started documenting everything. Photos. Timestamps. Anything that might help if this went sideways. And then one night, it did. It was 3:17 in the morning. Corbin was asleep in his apartment. Mara was asleep in the next room. Oren and Lita were at their house down the street. Lynn was parked outside in his truck. Night shift. Watching. Waiting. Lynn saw the car first. Dark sedan. No headlights. cruising slowly past the apartment complex. Once, twice. On the third pass, it stopped. A man got out. Tall, familiar build. Lynn could not see his face in the dark, but he knew. He texted the group chat. Possible Calloway. Outside Corbin's building. Coming now. Within seconds, engines started across town. Riders mounted up. Phones buzzed. But Lynn did not wait. He got out of his truck. Crossed the parking lot. Quiet. Steady. The man was at the base of the stairs leading up to Corbin's apartment. He had something in his hand. A bottle. Liquid inside. A rag stuffed in the top. Gasoline. Lynn's voice cut through the dark. I would not do that if I were you. The man spun. It was Calloway. Face shadowed. Eyes wild. He held the bottle like a weapon. Get out of my way. No. Calloway pulled a lighter from his pocket. Flicked it. Flame danced in the dark. I will burn it down. All of it. Him. Her. Everything. Lynn stayed calm. You do that, you go to prison for life. You throw that bottle, there are cameras. Witnesses. You are done. I am already done. They took everything. My career. My reputation. My life. Because of them. Because you killed your wife. Because you beat a child. That is why you are done. Calloway's hand shook. The flame wavered. Then engines roared in the distance. Growing closer. Louder. Headlights appeared at the end of the street. 5 bikes. Then 10. Then 15. They pulled into the parking lot. Surrounded Calloway. Engines cut. Silence. Corbin walked down the stairs. Stood beside Lynn. He looked at Calloway. At the bottle. At the lighter. Then he spoke. Soft. Steady. You do not want to do this, Dane. You do not know what I want. Yeah, I do. You want to hurt us the way you think we hurt you. But it will not change anything. You will still be guilty. You will still go to trial. You will still lose. The only difference is how many more people you hurt on the way down. Calloway's eyes were wet. Desperate. She was mine. My stepdaughter. I raised her. I fed her. I kept a roof over her head. And you terrorized her. You beat her. You killed her mother. That is not raising a child. That is owning one. Calloway's hand dropped. The lighter went out. The bottle dangled at his side. Riders moved closer. Not threatening. Just present. A wall of witnesses. If you cannot stand people who use power to hurt the defenseless, drop a comment that says no more lies. Every comment tells YouTube this story matters. That justice matters. That you are not siding with the bully. Sirens cut through the night. Red and blue lights flashed at the end of the street. Someone had called 911. Probably one of the neighbors. The patrol car pulled into the lot. 2 officers stepped out. Not Morris. Not anyone Corbin recognized. They saw Calloway. Saw the bottle. Saw the crowd of bikers. Officer Calloway, one of them said slowly. Put the bottle down. Calloway looked at the officers. At the riders. At Corbin. Then he dropped the bottle. It shattered on the asphalt. Gasoline spread in a dark puddle. He raised his hands. Empty. Defeated. The officers moved in. Cuffed him. Read him his rights. Calloway did not resist. Did not speak. Just stared at Corbin as they led him to the patrol car. That stare was not anger anymore. It was emptiness. The look of a man who had lost everything and knew it. When the patrol car drove away, the riders stayed. Corbin stood in the parking lot, breathing hard, hands shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. Hella walked over, put a hand on his shoulder. You okay? No, but I will be. That girl upstairs is safe because of you. Because of all of us. Corbin looked up at the apartment. The light in Mara's room was on. She was standing at the window. Small silhouette. Watching. He raised his hand. She raised hers back. Lynn picked up the pieces of broken glass. Nevin hosed down the gasoline. The others stood watch until the sun started to rise. Gray lights spilling over the desert. A new day. Safer than the one before. 6 months later, the trial began. The courtroom was packed. Reporters. Curious locals. Officers in uniform who still believed Calloway was innocent. And in the back row, 20 riders. Corbin. Hella. Nevin. Greta. Dale. Lynn. Others. They did not wear their cuts. Did not make noise. Just sat. Watched. Bore witness. Mara testified on the 3rd day. She wore a simple blue dress. Her hair was pulled back. She looked older now. Not because of time. Because of what she had survived. Eamon asked her questions. Gentle. Careful. She answered each one. Clear. Steady. She did not cry until she talked about her mother. About the sound of her falling. About the moment she realized no one was coming to help. The defense lawyers tried to break her. Suggested she was confused. traumatized, manipulated by Corbin and the bikers. But Mara did not break. She looked them in the eye and said, I know what I saw. I know what he did. And I am not confused. The forensic evidence was damning. The disabled airbag, the stage damage, the lack of skid marks, the witnesses who said Calloway had been acting strange. Morris testified, quietly, reluctantly, but truthfully. He said Calloway had pushed to close the case fast, too fast, that he had dismissed concerns, bullied other officers into silence. The jury deliberated for 2 days. When they came back, the courtroom held its breath. Guilty, on all counts. Manslaughter, evidence tampering, child abuse, attempted arson. Calloway did not react, just stared straight ahead. Empty. The judge sentenced him to 25 years. No parole for 15. As they let him out in handcuffs, he looked at Mara one last time. She did not look away, did not flinch, just watched him go. Outside the courthouse, the riders were waiting. When Mara walked out with Corbin, Orrin, and Lita, they stood. Silent. Respectful. No cheers. No celebration. Just presence. Just family. A reporter pushed through the crowd, shoved a microphone in Corbin's face. Mr. Rudd, how does it feel to know you brought down a decorated police officer? Corbin stopped, looked at the camera. I did not bring him down. He brought himself down. We just made sure people looked. We just made sure a girl was not sent back to a man who hurt her. That is all we did. Show up. Stand witness. Keep a promise. The reporter turned to Mara. And you, Mara, what do you want people to know? Mara looked at the writers, at Corbin, at her grandparents, then at the camera. I want people to know that family is not always blood. Sometimes it is the people who show up when no one else will. These people, she gestured to the bikers, saved my life. And I will never forget that. The reporter tried to ask another question, but Hella stepped between them. Interview is over. Let the girl breathe. They walked away. Back to the cars. Back to the bikes. Back to normal life. Or whatever normal looked like now. Months passed. Mara finished the school year. Made honor roll. Joined the art club. Started painting. Her therapist said it was good. A way to process. To heal. She painted her mother. Her father. The riders outside the hospital. The moment she saw 87 motorcycles lined up for her. She called the painting family. Corbin framed it. Hung it in his living room. Every time he looked at it, he remembered Soren's face. Remembered the promise. Remembered the night he almost failed. And he was grateful. Grateful for second chances. Grateful for a family that showed up. Grateful for a girl who survived. One evening, Mara sat on the balcony with Corbin. Stars filled the sky. She was 17 now. Stronger. Healing. She looked at him. Uncle Corbin, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think my dad would be proud of me? Of what I did? Corbin's throat tightened. Kiddo, your dad would be so proud he would not know what to do with himself. You stood up to a man with a badge and a gun and a system that protects people like him. You told the truth even when it was terrifying. You survived. Yeah, he would be proud. And you? Are you proud? More than I can say. She smiled, leaned against his shoulder, the way she used to with Soren. I am glad you came back. Me too. They sat in silence. The desert stretched out around them. Endless. Beautiful. Full of stars and second chances and promises kept. Corbin thought about the night the phone rang. About the ride. About the 87 engines that showed up because one girl needed help. He thought about the fear. The courtroom. The moment the verdict was read. And he thought about the family he had found. Not in blood, but in loyalty. In showing up. In refusing to look away. In a world where titles can lie and uniforms can hide monsters, sometimes the loudest thing you can do is show up, shut off your engine, and stand still for someone who thinks nobody is coming. These riders were not heroes. They were just people who believed that when a child is hurting, you do not ride past. You stop. You stay. You fight. Mara went to college 2 years later. Art school in Santa Fe. Orrin and Lita helped her move in. Corbin brought half the club. They carried boxes, set up furniture, hung her paintings on the dorm walls. When it was time to leave, Mara hugged each one of them, held on tight. Thank you. For everything. You do not have to thank us, Hella said. That is what family does. Corbin was the last to leave. He stood in the doorway, looked at Mara. Grown now. Confident. Safe. You are going to do great things, kiddo. I know. Because you taught me how. I did not teach you anything. You already had it. We just made sure you got the chance to use it. She hugged him one more time. I love you, Uncle Corbin. I love you too, Mara. He walked back to his bike. The others were waiting, engines idling. They rode back to Roswell together, the sun setting behind them, the road stretching out ahead. A family bound not by blood, but by something stronger. Promises kept, lives saved, love that showed up when it mattered most. And somewhere, on a desert highway under a sky full of stars, Soren Hollis was smiling. Thank you.